Alright, we're now going to discuss grammar review from pages 4.6 to 4.10. Like before, we're only going to talk about two type of grammar rules, illogical comparisons, and then parallel structure. With illogical comparisons, you want to make sure the two things that you're comparing are compared logically. So for example, like you want to compare apples to apples or oranges to oranges. Just so you have a better idea of what I mean by that, let's look at some of the examples here. The duck's bill is larger than a chicken. So what we're comparing is we're comparing a body part of a duck to a whole chicken. That really wouldn't make sense. You probably want to say a duck's bill is larger than a chicken's bill. So that way we're comparing two things that are logical. Let's look at number 2. I like Lady Gaga's songs better than Madonna. So you're comparing songs to a person. So do we want to do that? We want to compare songs versus a person? No. We want to compare songs versus songs. So you could probably put apostrophe S, and that would be enough, or you could put apostrophe S then songs afterwards. But by putting apostrophe S, then we're implying that we're comparing something that belongs to Madonna, meaning her songs, to Lady Gaga's songs. 3 has a similar problem. The weather in Canada is to be cold in the United States. Too cold than the weather in the United States, or than that in the United States. So look at number 4. Arthur Mills' plays tend to discuss more serious subjects than David Ives' plays. And finally for number 5. My horse is faster than Amy's. In that case, that'd be alright, because if you really want to compare a horse to Amy, then of course we have a problem, but I'm pretty sure you want to compare horse to horse, so 5 is okay. So that's correct. Here are some practice SAT problems that deal with illogical comparisons. And you could see this in either the improving sense format or the identifying error format. So 1 and 4 are in the improving sense format, 2 and 3 are in the identifying error format. So start number 1. It is generally accepted that a cat's sense of smell is about 14 times better than a human's. Than a human's. That's how I would say it. So I'll go with D on that one. So that way the comparison is logical. Skateboarding in Chicago, unlike California, is usually more difficult because of busy streets and crowded sidewalks. Unlike skateboarding in California, or like that in California. Let's look at number 3. The first years of Jackie Robinson's pro baseball career were significantly harder than other players, since he had to deal with threats and racist comments from fans and even from his own teammates. So you want to compare the first years of Jackie Robinson's career to the first years of other players' careers. So then those of. And you gotta use those, not that, because years is obviously plural, and those is plural. Or you could say then the first years of other players. So that'd be C. And again, number 2 is A. So we have A and C for 2 and 3. Then for number 4, again we have a problem. I prefer modern poetry far greater than Shakespeare. Well, Shakespeare is a person. So I prefer modern poetry far greater than Shakespeare's poetry. That's how I do that one. So that would be C.